One of the things Disney World has been known for really a very long time is how they go out of their way for guests who have allergies when it comes to food to really try and make sure that the food is prepared safely for them. And we've heard numerous stories throughout the years of chefs going above and beyond to making sure that families who have, very food sensitive children or other members of the family, they make sure that they can prepare a meal for them that is safe for them to eat and not have to worry about foods that aren't cross-contaminated with things that they are potentially allergic to. So this is a very big thing that Disney has always done. And there is a recent lawsuit where a woman at Disney Springs ate at not a Disney restaurant, but a restaurant at Disney Springs that did have, I think it was peanuts in it, and she ended up dying from that. So they are currently under a lawsuit for this. Well, there's a story here out of Court Watch that says a fired Disney employee allegedly hacked menu systems to alter peanut allergy info. So this is a pretty shocking and pretty big deal, really, especially if you're from Disney's perspective. So we're going to read through this and give some thoughts on it because although I don't think anybody was actually harmed from this when it did happen, this is potentially a really big deal and a vulnerability from Disney's side of things and something that could cause them problems in the future for sure. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And again, this is from Court Watch. It says, fired Disney employee allegedly hacked menu system to alter peanut allergy info. A criminal complaint alleges he did this soon after being fired by Disney using passwords that he still had access to on several different systems. It says a disgruntled former Disney employee allegedly repeatedly hacked into a third-party menu creation software used by Disney World's restaurants and changed allergy information on menus to say that foods that had peanuts in them were safe for people with allergies, added profanity to menus, and at one point changed all fonts used on menus to wingdings, according to a federal criminal complaint. The suspect in this case is Michael Shore, perhaps, broke into a proprietary menu creation and inventory system that was developed by a third-party company exclusively for Disney and is used to print menus for its restaurants. The complaint alleges he did this soon after being fired by Disney using passwords that he still had access to on several different systems. Well, first off, I mean, that would probably be not the best move on Disney's part if a guy was fired and you did not revoke his passwords. So I think right off the bat, although him doing this is not a good thing, if you fire somebody, you might want to make sure that they can't access your system after the fact, because I'm guessing, reading through this guy was involved in the tech side of things. And so especially if you make somebody mad who has abilities, with computers. So perhaps next time you fire somebody, I might make sure those passwords are deactivated. That's off the top of my head. I'm just reading this now. The threat actor manipulated the allergen information on menus by adding information to some allergen notifications that indicated certain menu items were safe for individuals with peanut allergies, when in fact they could be deadly to those with severe peanut allergies. According to the complaint, the menus were caught by Disney after they were printed, but before they were distributed to Disney restaurants. I was going to say, surely this is another reason too why I would say I don't like going into restaurants that you have to do like the QR code, like digital menus. I don't know what it is. When I go to a restaurant, I want a menu in my hand. So this is another reason. It gives you another step and a safeguard. If something did happen with the menu things being printed, seemed like somebody looked through this and saw this and was like, oh yeah, these aren't good. So if you had a QR code based one, I'm sure you would catch it eventually perhaps, but you have the potential for it to really get out there before it's caught, which could cause a lot of problems, especially with people with peanut allergies. So I would say on its face, printing menus and having, paper menus in hand is yet another reason for that. Disney is not named in the complaint itself, but 404 Media has confirmed with Shore's lawyer and by cross-referencing facts in the complaint that Disney is the company in question. According to the complaint, Disney contracted a company listed as Company B to build a menu creator software that is proprietary only to Disney and is used for food inventory management, menu creation, and printing and pricing. The complaint alleges that Shore repeatedly manipulated the menus to change the prices and added profanity, but also made several menu changes that heightened public health and safety. It says it alleges that he initially used login credentials he had from his time at Disney, then later broke into the Company B's FTP servers using separate logins after Disney reset login passwords to the menu creator program. So if you don't know, FTP is file transfer protocol. So it's, I'm not going to have a ton of info on this. I have used these before. So it's basically a back end into a website where it's quicker and more efficiently to say upload information. So a lot of times what companies will do is they'll set up FTP servers. And so it seems, if you were Disney, you handle the menus, they say, hey, we need these menus in here. You can use that to put it in there quickly. So sometimes those can still have a connection, even if, say, someone's passwords were taken away. So it seems like they caught onto this, took away the passwords, but then he still had access or was able to get into the FTP servers, is how he got in still after the fact. Employees at Disney initially became aware of the intrusion because of all the fonts in the menu creator program were changed to wingdings. Employees noticed that all the fonts in the application had been replaced by fonts that depicted symbols, also known as wingdings. The fonts were renamed by the threat actor to maintain the name of the original font, but the actual characters appeared as symbols. When launched, Menu Creator reached out to the configuration files to retrieve what it believed to be the correct font. Instead, it retrieved the altered font files. As a result of this change, all of the menus within the database were unusable because of the font changes propagated throughout the database. Further, this change was so substantial that it caused the menu creator system to become inoperable while the font changes were made to all of the menus. Company A was forced to take the menu creator application offline while they reverted back to backups to regain the ability to operate. As a result of this attack, the menu creator system was impacted for a period of 1 to 2 weeks. Manual processes had to be implemented to account for the issues with menu creator, states the complaint. After the incident, Disney reset menu creator login passwords. The complaint that then alleges that Shure broke into several of the company B's FTP servers, which served as print queues for Disney's menus, and uploaded files that were made to look identical to the real Disney menus, but which had been slightly altered. It states that Disney identified menus that were printed from the FTP server with the altered allergen information and pricing changes. So it almost seems like he first initially messed with the menus in a very obvious way, and then also was able to get on the backside. So once he knew they were going to fix them, at least get rid of those menus, he then went in to make slight changes after the fact, which I will say, not that I'm condoning this. If you are going to do this to mess with a company, it's one thing to put wingdings on menus. It's a completely other thing to mess with allergen information that could potentially not only harm people, it can kill people. So I think on that level, that's insane. Like, to be able to do that. Like, you have beef with Disney, have beef with Disney, but don't take your beef out where you're potentially harming women, children, men, kids to have these issues. On that end of things, I would say I hope some harsh punishments are coming his way for that, because that's, as somebody like my wife has a peanut allergy, it's not deadly, but she does have a peanut allergy, and if she were to have food that has been contaminated with it, it would not be the best afternoon for her, but it's not a deadly thing. Whereas I do have a cousin that his kid, if she even gets near peanuts, I mean, it has almost killed her before. So some of these people have peanut allergies and other allergies that are deadly. Again, there is a current lawsuit right now from the widow of a woman that was at Disney Springs, and her food was cross-contaminated, and she was a doctor, and she passed away from it. So this is not it's kind of a joking thing when you say menus were messed with wingdings and stuff, but once you start changing allergy information, I think you could probably have a pretty decent argument. You could say, you're talking about some sort of maybe potential or attempted manslaughter there. I mean, that's some serious stuff you're getting into there. It says, more specifically, the threat actor added notations to the menu items indicating they were safe for people with specific allergies, which has potentially fatal consequences depending on the severity of the customer's allergies. It is believed these menus were identified and isolated by Disney prior to being shipped out to restaurants and were not distributed further. On a separate occasion, Shure allegedly broke into a separate FTP server used to print big menus that would be displayed on large boards for viewing outside of the respective restaurant. On these menus, he allegedly altered QR codes that were supposed to go to the menu and had them redirect to the website boycottisrael.org. Okay. Shure also allegedly locked at least 14 Disney employees out of their Disney accounts by trying to log into Disney's online account system thousands of times with a script, maintain a folder of personal information about 4 employees, homes, phone numbers, and relatives, and showed up at one of the victims' homes at night, the complaint says. So this person's just unhinged. I mean, that's what I'm getting here. Shure's LinkedIn lists him as having worked at Disney during dates that align with those in the criminal complaint. 404 Media asked David Haas, a lawyer representing Shure, if anyone had gotten sick at Disney as a result of the activities alleged in the complaint. His lawyer said the criminal complaint itself states that no one was sick or injured as no menus were used in the parks. Other than that, I have no comment on the allegations against my client. It says Disney is currently and separately being sued by a Disney World guest whose wife died after suffering a fatal allergic reaction in what has become an incredibly high-profile case because Disney initially tried to get the wrongful death case thrown out because of a forced arbitration clause in its Disney Plus terms of service. Yes, that is not a great look for Disney, and one they backtracked on very quickly because they got met with a lot of people. I mean, we made a video on it. Many other channels did as well, and a lot of other people talked about it, how that was an insane precedent to try and set, to where if you sign up for a streaming service and you accept their terms of agreement, you can't sue them for essentially wrongful death. Like, that's, I don't think anybody would make the case out there that that's something they would argue is a good precedent to be setting in this day and age when it comes to, terms and agreements and things like that when it comes to using services. Yeah, so, I mean, that is obviously I know it first starts out as kind of silly with, a wingding fonts and messing with stuff. And okay, like if you have your issues and someone fires you, they go mess with stuff. I still wouldn't advise doing that. I still think that's a dumb thing to do, but okay, fine. You play some jokes, you mess with them, you delay some stuff, like that's one thing. But once you start going into allergy information stuff, that this gets into life-threatening things. And again, this potentially, could have harmed or killed people at the parks or on Disney property or wherever. So the fact that it went that far is rather insane. Again, kudos to Disney for catching this. So it seems like they have systems in place to at least catch these things. So maybe this person didn't think that they had those things. So it's hard to know if this person is an activist of sorts or just somebody who got fired and was angry about it. On some level, I mean, probably if you're Disney and this other menu company, when someone is let go that has passwords to things of this nature, you might want to make sure that they're not able to get into your systems after the fact. Now, they kind of sound like a hacker, so hackers can get into things if they're motivated enough to do that. So I think both making sure your passwords and stuff are revoked and you change these things and you do, you go through your protocols there, but you also have, checks and balances in place to be able to check for those menus, which it seems that Disney did have that. So that is a good thing that these did not get out to the general public. But this isn't the first time this has happened to Disney. A couple months back, Disney was hacked. Their Slack channel was hacked, and a lot of information got out there in terms of that. That's how we know that Disney has almost made $1 billion from the implementation of Genie Plus and, now Lightning Lane Multipass and Single Pass and things, because that information was in that hack. So Disney seems to be having an issue in terms of security when it comes to their websites and the way that they communicate within the company. Now, I had heard, and a lot of people talked about, Disney's been pretty good on this front in terms of having good security and things like that. But it seems lately that they have, I don't know if you would call it a lapse in security, but it definitely seems like things have, gotten through their firewall, if you will, as of recently. But in terms of this story, I'm curious what they're going to charge this guy with, because again, I think you potentially have a case here for, now I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know exactly, but I would assume like attempted manslaughter potentially, because again, if somebody did have a peanut allergy, if it did get in the hands of a customer and it said it's safe and they ate it and something happened, I mean, Disney would be on the hook for a huge lawsuit, first off. And then second, obviously if somebody was hurt and God forbid somebody died, I mean, that is something that is just terrible. So glad this was caught, but the potential scenario of this, if it did get into customers' hands, is one that is pretty terrible. So I'm glad that this got caught, but I am curious about the charges that will be filed and really what the defense of this would be. But as of now, that's where this story stands. So again, my wife has a peanut allergy. It's one of those things where you definitely have to trust the menu on that level, on some level. Now, I suppose you can make sure, and a lot of times Disney, to their credit, I will say, give them 100% credit. When you do say you have a peanut allergy, they take it very seriously. They will double check things. They'll tell you what you can and can't have. And then many times we've actually had a chef come out and talk to my wife and say, this is in this, and this, just to, really make sure. So I suppose if you really have a bad peanut allergy or another type of allergy, I would perhaps ask to speak to the chef directly, because even if the menu said something safe, I'm not saying this situation happens a lot, but if you do have a very deadly peanut allergy, it's not a bad idea if you are going to eat out to have a conversation with the chef, because if something, God forbid, was on the menu that wasn't correct, they would notice it right away. So I think that's something, if I was on that level of an allergy, that's maybe a precaution I would take. But all in all, I'm glad that nobody was harmed by this, other than just, some inconvenience on the side of Disney and this other company. But we'll have to wait and see if there's any follow-up to this, what kind of punishment this guy's facing or the charges and things like that. But very, I guess you could call it a kind of funny story in a way, but that had a potentially dark outcome if things, went unchecked and weren't caught it beforehand. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this story? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.